Vibe coding feels amazing. You open an editor, prompt an AI, and suddenly you've got a product taking shape in minutes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Vibe coding can quietly kill your product if you don't know where the traps are. In this video, I want to break down the 5 common mistakes that people make when vibe coding products and how to avoid them. Number 1. Shipping features without understanding them. When AI writes code, it's tempting to just trust it. If it runs, it ships. But the problem is, if you don't understand the code itself, if you don't understand HTML, CSS, React, you won't be able to evaluate and judge if the code that AI generated is good. But more importantly than that, you have to question why you are building those features. You could do a feature creep and build all the features in the world into the same application. Why are you adding those features? You end up with an application that's huge in terms of what it can do. There's 10, 20 different ways of doing the same thing, achieving the same thing into the application, and the user might be lost. So you have to have that focus. You have to have that direction. And that is something that only a human can provide to an AI. One of the ways that you could manage this better is to actually try to learn together with AI. You can ask AI to explain how it's implemented the features and why it took those paths and why it wrote the code that way. So if you don't understand something, ask and try to validate so that you are learning together using that tool, not just accepting what it throws at you and thinking that it should be good because AI generated it and it works, it's good enough. Because if you have a problem then in production, how will you fix it if you don't understand? So that is something that you have to keep in mind when working with AI. Number 2, shipping prototypes with shaky foundations. Maybe you, as a developer, you have built an app for a use case that you had. It was great, it solved the issue, and then you start working on actually building it into a product so that you can launch. And you make that launch. But the problem is that you started with a prototype mindset. The AI received the task as it was just building a prototype. So you don't have that really solid foundation that is required to actually build a product that will last into the market. In the past, I have worked in projects that you had to build prototypes and then rushing it into production. And it was not a pleasant experience because if you don't have the solid foundations that are required to have an application that will eventually grow, if you are not building with that mindset, then you won't be ready when something catches on and has that need for growing. So you might be ending up losing features along the way if you are just using simple kinds of prompts, if you are not using structured prompts, and if you are not with the mindset of having built solid foundations and having that application under your control. Because it's really easy to have it spiral down the mountain and becomes like that giant ball that will crash down eventually. It's really important for you to actually have that planning and that mindset of, okay, I'm gonna build a strong foundation so that I can expand and grow this application in a way that my users will possibly need in the future. Number 3, letting the tool decide the architecture. So AI is great at generating code, but it's terrible at long-term architectural intent. There are no architectures, no tools, no frameworks that are silver bullets. You have to choose which tool to use for each case. And if you just do a request for an AI to build an app and you don't specify what tools you want to use, that will lead for it using just whatever is most popular, but might not be the best fit for your application. This is something that you have to actually put some thought on and do some research. So use AI do that research, due diligence that's needed for you to actually make decisions, knowing what are the pros and cons between the services and tools available for you. So then you can go ahead and reprompt AI to finally start building your project under those choices that you made that were informed. Otherwise, you will have a nightmare when trying to actually make your product last long in the market as well. Number 4, overbuilding because it's basically free. Using AI is cheap. You have a lot of resources even for free nowadays. If you want to build some application, you can just get it to do a request and build it agentically, and you can build a lot of applications at the same time, hoping that something sticks. Always have to ask yourself, why am I adding those features? And the more features you are adding, the complexity of the user experience, or even the complexity of working with AI with those features will grow. You have to impose those limits. Don't let AI add features blindly as well. You are the one in control, so you must exercise constraint as much as you want AI to exercise constraint. Number 5, skipping the boring work. Working with AI is easy just to ignore everything and get that code working beautifully, and you test it after the prompt and okay, it's ready, it's done. But if you do forget the other parts that we generally as coders didn't enjoyed implementing. Yes, we've all been there. We all tried TDD. We all noticed how that impacted our speed of building things, and you might be just craving more speed or more features when building your application with AI. But here's the thing. If you do ask AI to build tests for the features that you want to be building, and you can ask to build the tests first, just like in TDD. That will mean that the AI will have the tools to test itself and see if the features that it implemented are actually working. And if you have tests in place, whenever you add any more features, you will be able to get any kind of regressions that you have in code, or any kind of functions that are missing and the tests are not working anymore. So having that, have good error handling as well, so that you as a human are able to understand the error messages and know what's happening there, not just having to rely on AI and all the ways that AI goes through the stack of errors that you have there and then tells you what is happening. So if you have that, if you have ways of monitoring if your code is working well, and if you have good documentation, then your project is really a project that can have success. One thing that I would like to add, AI can be just like a monkey's paw. You can make a wish, but it will deliver something that in the end is not what you want. It might seem like what you want at first, but it will have an if. So you have to have those structures in place. You have to vibe engineer it, do a smart prompting and structured prompting with all that planning on hand. Otherwise, you will have a bad time with the monkey's paw wish.